Okay, I'm back. This is part 2 of editing your calendar. I'm back. I'm still in the Visual Builder. While I was away, I did a couple things. I updated this title here because I noticed that in a later post we had the full name Northwest Authors Fair instead of just Northwest Authors, which was in the Word document. That seemed more professional. I also changed the description because you had it there from before. The other thing I noticed is in the Word doc that you sent me, you had the day of the week, and I wanted to incorporate that here. So I've changed the formatting a little bit in this section. I'm going to click on the gear of this gray box to show you what I did. First thing I did is I typed the day of the week in all caps, and I applied heading 5 to it. Heading 5 is also then what's applied to the address, whereas the date has a heading 4. What that does is apply the styles that you see here so that we have consistency in how those dates are presented. And then I went ahead and copy pasted that into the other boxes so that I could start from the format's already being set up. Going back to your Word document, bring that back in. I see on October 8th, just grab all of this text, boom, boom, put it back over there so I can see it even though you can't. This time I'm going to start in this box. You'll notice that sometimes when you click on it, you can actually start editing text. 90% of the time I'm going to say that's not the best idea. It's better to pull up the gear wheel. Reason being that when you edit here, it can sometimes, WordPress can sometimes get confused and it doesn't know if you're trying to do it here or trying to do it there. When you go to save it, there are sometimes issues. So for consistency and success, it's better to open this. If you're successful over here, more power to you, but you'll have more consistency here. First thing I'm going to do is notice that the heading is heading 3 and the text is paragraph. I'm going to select all of this and paste in what I brought over from your Word doc over there. And I see that what I need to put here is WordFest at Cassava Coffee House. So I just used a keyboard shortcut to cut that text, which is a right-click function. I'm going to change this, noticing again that it's heading 3, paste in my WordFest Cassava Coffee House, and the reason that I noted that first is because sometimes when you paste you lose the formatting, and that way you know what formatting to reapply. Let me get rid of that comma. This is at 1333 Broadway. Just like I showed you before, I'm going to shift and return to get that the lesser break there. I'm going to roll back up here and see how I had presented the time. Could have sworn I put that in that box last time, so I'm going to have to take a look at that. That's what we're going to do this time. So 6 to 8 p.m. is going to go up here with that. This will be Longview, Washington. I'm pulling this out because it doesn't go in this box. Actually, none of that goes in this box. My bad. Pulling all of that out because it doesn't go in this box. And do I have any text over there to tell me what this is? No. So I'm going to say, roll back up to here and say meet the author, Q&A, and book signing. Yeah, that's what I'll do. Triple clicking and copying, going over here and pasting, which was rather foolish because I just lost all the text that I had in copy, but that's okay. I can redo that. So what we've accomplished here is WordFest Cassava. WordFest at Cassava Coffee House, meet the author, Q&A, and book signing. I'm going to go over here and I'm looking directly at your PDF right now, and I can see that, or your Word document rather, and I can see that this is on all caps, Tuesday. This is what I meant about editing right into the box. It absolutely is something that you can do if it works for you. Because I know how to undo things that break, I tend to use this a lot because I think it's faster, but I always want to tell people that it can be confusing because I want you to make a choice so that you know what you're doing when you're doing it. I don't think the zip code is particularly germane here. I'm going to do a regular return. And add 6 to 8 p.m. which actually should be in. Hey, I'm going to go click out of there, mouse over it, get the gear shift, The reason I'm going in is because I want this to have that same heading 5 formatting as the rest of it. See what I did there? Okay. And I see that somehow I lost that up here. And again, I'm taking the zip code off just for consistency and formatting. And this was 11 a.m. to 6. And it looks like we had this formatting. So I'm going to apply that there. Good, we're good. Okay, now I feel like these first two are good enough to save. I'm going to save for general fear of losing my work. And then I'll come back and I need to do something with this picture. I know, I'm pretty confident that you don't have a picture of Cassava Coffee House in your library currently, so I'm going out to the World Wide Web, and I feel somewhat, probably not New York, that's probably not the one we want. How about Cassava Coffee House in Longview? This is probably them. And usually the pictures that are on Yelp or TripAdvisor are usable. People that put them there aren't putting them there because they don't like people to use them. You do have to pay attention to copyright and always be willing to pull back an image when it is copyright protected. That's kind of a nice image, compelling. That's probably better for our purposes here. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I right click to save the image. I'm going to call it Cassava on my very busy desktop. I can exit out of that window. I'm coming back. We're in your, sorry, bad click. We're right where we left off in your visual builder for the page. Click over the picture I want to change. Click the gearbox. Boom. It's not in my library anywhere, so I'm going to go to Upload Files. I could, if I could find it on my very busy desktop, I could drag it right in. Since my desktop has too many files on it at the moment, I'm going to go here and go to my desktop and Cassava and add it that way. Your library, your media library always has all the pictures we've ever used in the past. So if you know you've uploaded or it's been uploaded before, you can always reference it there. You want to fill out the alt text. This is what people with disabilities have read to them. So it's important that it be relevant to what, descriptive of what the picture is trying to communicate. Beyond that, you just want to use keywords that, a search engine might pick up. I'm going to actually add WordFest because that might be something people are looking for. WordFest Cassava Coffee House. Okay, do I want to compress? This is a little tool I put on. Do we want to compress? And the defaults are fine on this. You don't really need to worry about them. You can ignore all that. The alignment is none. The link to is none. In other words, when they click on that, it's not going anywhere. The size is obscene. I'm not going to put 1,000 pixels in that little box. If I do, then it's just going to make the page load very slowly. So I'm going to set that to medium, upload the image, and now that I see it's there, I can click the green check mark. Now the proper image is there, and I can save again because, again, I'm doing nothing but making the site better by clicking save right now. Next event looks like it's going to be on a Saturday, October 12th, at the Columbia Pacific Heritage Museum, which is at 115 Lake Street, Southeast, in beautiful downtown Ilwaco, Washington. And that's going to be 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. And again, I'm setting the styles by using this drop down here. And then give it the eyeball check when you get on this side, make sure everything looks okay. And the title, clicking in the gearbox, the title is You said Cranfest, but I'm calling it the Annual Cranberrian Fair. Ooh, did I spell that with an E? I don't think so. Pretty sure we don't have a picture of this, and even if we did, I think they change the logo every year. So I'm opening up a new tab, and I'm going to look for the Cranberrian Fair. And you are focusing it at the Heritage Museum, not at the Cranberry Museum. I know it exists in both places. Is that this year? What's your date? Your date is October 12th. So I'm gonna go with that is not this year. 2012. Let's try, ooh, it could be this one. I think this is this year's image, so it says it was uploaded 6 days ago. I'm going to go ahead and save it. Grand Fair 19. But I'm going to do one couple more clicks here just to make sure. Cranberry Harvest Festivals, blah, 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 blah. I don't see anything else that appears to be more germane. I am going to pop over to the Cranberry or the Heritage Museum site, and here's their page on the event, and they're not using a Cranberry Fair specific image, just the historic image. So I'll leave that at that. Back over to here. Oops, wrong tab. Back over to here. Oop, I didn't look to see it is without the E, so we're good there. I'm guessing this is still meet the author and all that, so I'm just going to use that as our standard until you tell me otherwise. So I can save that. Internal save. Green check is the internal save. Need a different picture. Gearbox. Click the image. I'm going to upload the files. I'm going to select rather than drag today. I named it Cranberry, so there we go. The alt text, we have to wait till that blue box goes or it's just going to delete anything we do. There we go. So this is the Cranberrian Fair 2019 image, which is relevant and readable by both search engines. It's a decent term for both search engines and people with disabilities. If I wanted to put if I wanted that image to link somewhere for more information, and in this case I think I will, the Heritage Museum has this page with information all about the event. So I'm just copying the URL there. And here I'm going to click on link, which will zip up this image box. If I had left the image box open and clicked link, it would do that automatically. It's still there. Open in Lightbox means when they click on the picture, it opens up kind of as an overlay of the page, looking larger, the largest version that is available. We're not going to do that because we don't want it the picture to open up. We want to have a link set. When they click on it, we want a link to happen. We want them to go somewhere. And when they go somewhere, because we're asking them to leave your website, we want that to open in a new tab. If they were going somewhere else on your website, it'd be fine to have it in the same window. I want it to open in a new tab so that when they're done looking at that page and they close it, your website's still open. Click the green to save in the back end of the website. And now if I click on this in the front end of the website, if I clicked on that, it would go to that article at the Columbia Pacific Heritage Museum, which occurs to me, we haven't actually been I didn't put the name here of the museum. So it's the annual Meet the Author book signing at the Columbia Pacific Kelly Heritage Museum. I think it's probably not as title worthy because the title's long enough, so I'm putting it in the body instead. Somewhat arbitrary. Mainly I'm thinking about people on tablets and on phones. I don't want the title so long that it's wrapping. I want it to be, a title. You shouldn't have a title that's longer than your description. How's that? Is that a good layout rule? Clicking back to the full width. And now I've reused all the boxes that we have. Now what do I do? Okay, here's where I did a little bit of creativity that I think is going to help you. instead of just putting the 3 boxes and then 3 more boxes and then 3 more boxes, I've contained each in one of these green row boxes. And I've done that because then it's going to bring about an entire event's worth of formatting over all at once. Also, I applied to that green row, let me get up into here, out, these returns, there we go, the horizontal lines, the gray lines that you see above and below the event, those are applied in the row. So if we duplicate this whole row, this is the duplicate or clone tool. If we duplicate this whole row, it's going to make an absolute copy, a perfect copy of everything. The horizontal lines, all 3 of the boxes that are in there. And that is going to be the easiest way for you to add an event. Perhaps not so coincidentally, your next event is in the same place. So cloning this one with a lot of the information the same is also pretty helpful. So it looks like our next event is on Saturday, October 12th. Nope, Sunday, October 20th. Sunday, October 13th. Sunday, that was in all caps. The 13th at the same place in the same times. Well, that was hard. It's the same thing. This is the same thing. So now we're done. So see how sweet that clone worked? I'm going to go ahead and save down here in the bottom right and let that push out to the world at large. Now I'm looking at your next event in your Word document on October 25th at the Peninsula Senior Activity Center. And since we don't have any events showing at the Activity Center, I feel confident to say that the thing to do is just clone this last one we made, as opposed to going and finding one that has all that information, then dragging it into place. What did she just say? We'll do that another time. So here's the clone tool. I'm going to clone it. Now I have a 3rd Cranberry Fair event, which will soon not be a Cranberry Fun event. It will soon be a Peninsula, all caps, Peninsula Senior Activity Center event. Meet the author Q&A and book signing. Seems appropriate for that. We need to make a change here. Let me just roll up a little here. Yeah, I did put in. I was just checking my spacing. And this is going, I wanted to make sure I clicked into the right box. Clicking the gear shift in this box. And this is going to change to Friday, all caps, October 25th. And this is at 21603 O Lane in, is it Clipson or Clipson Beach? I think it's Clipson Beach. If I'm wrong, you'll tell me. And everything's good there. This image isn't going to work. And, you know, I could put a link to the Senior Activity Center, but I'm not convinced at this point that that's going to add to the conversation. Peninsula Senior Activity Center. Just doing a little search here. I'm looking for an image. There's their website. And I want a picture that looks remotely evocative of where you're going or what you're doing. And since none of the internal pictures are jumping out at me as being compelling meet the author kinds of pictures, I'm going to go with an external of the building. That one was pretty nice. So right click on it to save the image. Peninsula Senior Activity Center. Okay, then I can go back over again. I'm going to just close that tab because I keep bumping on it accidentally. I'm going to click on the gearbox, click on the photo. I'm going to upload. I'm selecting as opposed to dragging. I called it Peninsula Senior Activity, so it's right there. Wait for the blue bar to jump. That just means it's done uploading. Peninsula Senior Activity Center. I'm going to select all and copy. I'm using my keyboard shortcuts rather than my right clicks. And I'm just going to paste that into the title as well. I think it's more descriptive. It pulls the title automatically from whatever the name of the image is. And it doesn't really show up in your on the front end of your website, but there's an argument to be made that it helps in search engines. The bigger argument in my mind is it makes it easier later if you want to search to see if you have an image on the Senior Center. I could just type senior, and it's going to look at all your pictures and find one with a title or alt text that has the word senior in it. So you might trick out your titles a little bit for that purpose. I can go ahead and upload the image. Boom, puts it there. I can save. In this case, I'm not linking to the Senior Activity Center. If you want me to do that, let me know. I don't think on their website there was, I don't remember seeing anything there on events specifically. Go to the home page and oh, there's a calendar. Oh, ouch, this hurts a little. Repeating things. Oh, this is just not helpful in my way of thinking. This doesn't add anything to the game. So we're going to get out of here and not worry about linking here. Okay, next event is also going to be at the Senior Center, so I'm going to clone this entire row. And now most of my information is exactly correct. However, the date has changed to Saturday the 26th. Click my gearbox. I know this video is getting long, but I figure why not have you watch the whole thing, then you get the repetition. You can always fast forward and unforward and back forward, and well, you get the point. Okay, this is good now, this is good, this is good. We're done with a whole new event. Okay, next one is going to be at the Peninsula Church Center. I'm going to clone. First thing I'm going to do is change this. I like to change this one first because for me, that's how it's easier for me to identify which one I'm editing. So that's done. Boom. Do the date next on a little bit. You know, whether you do the date first or the picture first is kind of up to your own sensibilities, I suppose. So this one is all caps Friday. And it is November. November what? November 1. You know, it makes sense to me on this one to have it be one event and call it November 1 and 2. We probably could have done that on some of the others. 2 events is kind of overkill. So we're going to leave that alone. We might go back and look at the other. I digress. We're going to do this as November 1 and 2. We're going to list it as one dual event. And if you want me to make it 2 separate events, I can obviously do that, or you can. The more I think about usability of your page, I think we're giving so much white space to each of the events that it makes the page long. And so adding more events than, when they're one day apart, it makes more sense to me to do those in one event with 2 dates in it. So there's my argument. And I believe we have a picture for that. I'm going to find out. I'm going to click on that. I'm going to do this search, and I'm going to look for the Church Center. I like to keep my search as brief as possible because I don't want to, if I type Church Center and then it was only labeled church, it wouldn't show up. As it turns out, it's a moot point because we don't have anything labeled that. So I'm going over here to the Peninsula Church Center. Dun, dun, dun. Looks like they have, they're calling it the Peninsula Community Center. If in fact that is ours. Nope, this one. Oh, that's the daycare. A map. Interesting. Okay, well, obviously this one's us. It's a Facebook page, so I'll look at that. And I'm also going to look at the images. Let's choose this picture. I I'm kidding. Wow, lots of things called Peninsula Church Center. So let's go look at theirs, and let's go look at their photos. I was kind of jarred by the picture of Kevin there. Not thrilled with any of their pictures as relates to your specific type of event. These don't really resonate. So that's not good. And do we have anything here? There's an interior, but I'm not sure how evocative it is. I don't feel comfortable using Damien's pictures without permission. Dun, dun, dun. It's kind of steep, but this one is a little bit nice, but I don't know how telling it is of to show what the place looks like. I'll go ahead and save it because right now it's the best I got. Peninsula Church Center walkway. It's not really a walkway, it's like a riverbed. Dry riverbed. If I don't find anything else better rather quickly, we're going to use that one. And well, that's in Palo Alto. And then if you find something better you like, we can always replace it. So, yikes. I am surprised that there would not be more pictures here in Google land on our, maybe if I change my search term. Go up, go up. There we go. Peninsula Church Center, CV Law. Kind of a sexy pic, but there we go. That one, I believe, is more useful in showing our little church center. So whose is it, and may I use it? Looks like it belongs to the Presbyterian church that uses the facility. So I'm going to presume that we can use that. And again, you know, when you're in good faith using an image that you think is reshareable, such as this one, you know, you haven't upload files, select files. You haven't cleared the copyright. You know, you haven't contacted the Presbyterian Church and asked permission, which is the right thing to do. At the same time, you can kind of presume that in the context that you found it, its job is to advertise the church and the church center. And that's why they've posted it. And so you're using it in the same way is probably allowed. Again, the right thing to do is ask them ahead of time. I'm not going to spend your money doing that research. I'm going to tell you that you should do that research. And of course, if anyone should contact you and say, hey, I took that picture and don't authorize it, get it off of there. We'll replace it with something else. Okay, Peninsula Church Center, meet the author, blah, blah, blah. I'm just verifying against the Word document now. I have updated the address. I've checked the hours. I've got the thing. We got the November 1, the November 2. Perfect. I'm going to save. And while that's saving, I'm going to go back here to the Activity Center and say, you know, we could really have done the same thing here. Go 25-26 or 25 and 26. Then see this little crosshair thing here? I can drag this down, and you see that green highlight that shows up right here? That tells me that's where it's going to land when I let go of it. And, you know, rather than delete that, I'm just dragging it down there to reuse it later. Same with the Cranberrian Fair. Since the hours are the same and everything, I'm going to go 12 and 13. And then I'm going to take the second one here and click on this crosshair. It looks just like the cursor when it's moused over it. And just drag it down until I get that green box showing up, green highlight. That's where I want to drop it. Boom. And everything else I believe was singles. Okay, so single, 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 single. And this is where we start reusing. Okay. So the next one is going to be at the Canterbury Inn Assisted Living. Clicking the wheel. Is that a center? No. Canterbury in assisted living. Boom. Clicking over here. And the Canterbury Inn is November 8th. Which is a Friday, caps lock. And that is located at 1324 3rd Avenue. The convention we've been using so far has been to spell those out, so we'll continue to do that. Those kinds of conventions, I'm preaching to the choir here, but those kinds of conventions, being consistent about saying avenue instead of Ave, street instead of ST, they really make a big difference in the professional look of your site. So there's my elevator speech on that. Looks like this one is 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. And that's the only change needed there. I'm going to steal this text, copy that, go back over to Google, pick the one in Longview. And I'm looking at the domain names under here because I don't want to choose one that, like this looks like it's the company that runs it, which is probably okay. I probably don't want to use senior advisor because it's more likely to have a copyright issue. If I can find one, what I'm really looking for is, again, either one that is going to be helpful in having people find you because it shows the outside of the building, or it's going to show the type of experience to expect when there's an author signing at this facility. So I think my decision is I don't want to take anything from like caring.com or senior advisor because they're more likely to be copyright issues. That one's pretty good for the experience we're looking for. Let's go see what caring.com looks like. Or if there are other pictures under here that fireplace is just really compelling. So let's go look at it on the caring.com site. I'm sorry, senior advisor site. Did I click the wrong one? There it is. Okay. Senior advisor. These guys are in the business of gathering those images to sell all kinds of ends. I'm just not comfortable with the copyright issues on that, so we're not going to potential copyright issues on that. Whereas, are there any interiors from the owners that are, there's the fireplace. It's not quite as compelling, but is probably indicative of where you'll be. So I like that one. I'm just going to click to the website and make sure that, yeah, this is the Canterbury Inn website, which should want you using its pictures to promote it. It's less likely a copyright issue there because I'm saving this image because it's I can't save it there. Let me just finish the thought. It's less likely to be a copyright issue because the people who own the image are in the business of benefiting from that image being shown, as opposed to if we took it from, say, what was it called? senioradvisor.com. They're in the business of getting people using that picture to get people back to their website. So unless you're going to link back to their website, it's just not real. Besides, I'm not even sure that's the right Canterbury Inn. It's just more likely an issue. Okay, so I'm going to just go look at this image. We're back to that, are we? Okay. Sometimes you get to go find the image after you get there. So let's go look at there. I think I saw a slideshow. There we go. Photo tour. Pretty compelling outdoor picture. Don't think you're signing books outdoors, not at that time of year. That's the one I want. Right click, I can save it and call it Canterbury Inn underscore desktop. There we go. Close that. I'll keep that. Close that. Back to yours. Huh, that was a little work, that one. Okay. Canterbury Inn. I'm going to click on the image, click on the gear shift, click on the image. I know it's not in your library, so I'm going to do the upload files, select it. I started at Canterbury, so there. Why am I getting a WebP file? I don't like when that happens. Yeah, that's not going to work. Back to resave my image. Okay. Back to there. Here's what happened. Sometimes when you get an image, if it's on a Google hosted website, oops, photo gallery please, it saves the file ending as .wepb. And when it does that, it's utterly useless for you to reuse. Now, the bad news about that is that you don't know if they're doing that because they're trying to protect the image, or if they're doing that because they're using a Google site, hosted site builder, and that's just how it's done there. So, you know, that finding that may have increased the results of it being a copyright issue. I'm going to risk it. You can check with them. I am now going to, on my keyboard, use Command plus Shift plus 4. Holding all three of those keys at once will turn my cursor into a crosshair. See how that's changing with numbers and everything? Now I can click it on the corner of this image and drag it for as much of the image as I want to screenshot, which will be all of it. And that's going to put a screenshot in PNG format on my desktop. So I don't have to worry about that web.p format. Now I can select the file, but I didn't get a chance to name it, which means it's going to be named screenshot. There it is. See, I have a bunch of them named screenshot. This is the most recent one. That's how I need to pick it. Except now the file name is going to be redonkulous. So we're going to definitely change the title over here. We've entered the hour when the kids are coming home from school and the internet slows down. This is the Canterbury Inn Longview, Washington. Select all copy. I'm using the keyboard shortcuts to select all copy paste. Upload that image. Boom, boom. One way to make it a little bit easier, I'm just going to go ahead and do this. I'm going to add the link. Oh, look, it's saving the link from the last one. That's good to notice. I'm actually going to go to the Canterbury Inn page where this picture is and link to it, because if they see that we're linking to them, that might calm them down about any copyright issues. So again, in a new tab, because we're leaving your site. And what that process reminded me of was that I need to go back and check all of these that we did after the Heritage Museum, because when we copied that, we also copied over that linking to the museum. So click the image, click link. Oh, look, there's a link. I'm just selecting all and deleting. Click in the green box to save. Peninsula Senior Activities, and that's the one I just did. Link, yes, fix that one. And that one was the Heritage Museum. Let's just make sure the Cassava House didn't have one on it. Don't think it did, and it didn't. Okay. So now the images in use aren't linking to places they shouldn't be linking. And except this one, because it's the next recycled one from the Heritage Museum, so we'll want to check that when we get over there. We have done the Canterbury Assisted Living in Longview on November 8th from 9 to 4, and the very next day we're at the Cowlitz County Fairgrounds. See how I include myself? Cowlitz County Fairgrounds. And we're going to take out that text we didn't need. And I'm pretty sure there's no link. Good. Boom. Come back to that on the image. This is going to be Saturday, I believe, November 9th. My brother's birthday, by the way. I know that was really relevant. Saturday, November, get that caps lock off. November 9th, 2019. Not in Ilwaco, but rather 1900 7th Avenue. Again, soft return. Oh, there's a missing space. Soft return, which is holding the shift while I hit the return key. Longview, Washington. And this is going to be from 9 to 4. I always double, triple check all that. Typos and accuracy and blah, blah, blah. Now I need an image. Back over to my happy Google page here. And I'm wondering actually if the Cowlitz County Fairgrounds has an author fair for the shot. Pictures of the fair. Ooh, there's an event center. Wonder if we could figure out where you are in there. I'm going to click to that page. Yeah, and it quickly goes to things that aren't relevant. So, this was the Cowlitz County Events Center. I wonder if that's the same as the fairgrounds. I bet it's adjacent to the fairgrounds. And I'm guessing at that time of year you're in the event center. Do they have a calendar that I can look in November? October, come on. November the 9th. And if it is in the event center, they don't have it on their calendar. So we're going to go back to just the fairgrounds and get rid of the words author fair. So you just get totally into my head this way. A night picture of the fair doesn't seem too helpful here. That is the event center, which we're again not sure is the correct place. But I just have to think that you're going to be indoors, and they just haven't updated their website yet. I'm going to end this one while I do my research, and I'll come back to finish up the events with you for a little bit more repetition, and we'll go from there.